They built a multinational economy with fake money, fixed prices, and forced cooperation, and then acted surprised when it collapsed. Let's talk about Comecon, or to use its full bureaucratic splendor, the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance. Founded in 1949 not as some noble trade union, but as an ideological firewall. The West had the Marshall Plan. Stalin decided his neighbors needed the economic equivalent of a brick wall and promptly banned any Eastern European country from taking American money. Instead, he offered them an economic alliance, under Moscow's thumb naturally. By 1989, Comecon spanned 25 million square kilometers and over 500 million people, from the grey factories of East Germany to the rice paddies of Vietnam and the cigar farms of Cuba. It looked impressive on a map, but let's not kid ourselves. Equality was never on the agenda. The Soviet Union pulled all the levers, producing 65% of the bloc's income, owning 90% of the land and, surprise, dictating every major decision. Now imagine running a giant economy with no real money. Enter the transferable ruble. A currency so fictional even monopoly would be embarrassed. Instead of market prices, every transaction was hammered out in painful, closed-door negotiations. It was less trade and more extended family dinner where no one pays their share. The Soviets sent oil at fraternal discounts, sometimes 40% below world prices. Gas pipelines snaked across the Eastern Bloc, built largely on Eastern European debt, paid back in more transfer rubles. In some years, Moscow's oil subsidies to its friends soaked up 2% of the entire USSR's GDP, tens of billions, just to keep the lights on in places like Poland and Bulgaria. But these weren't gifts. In exchange, countries had to buy Soviet tractors, Soviet steel, Soviet everything, dependency by design. Let the numbers sink in. In 1960, over half of Soviet exports went to Comecon members. By 1980, it was down to 42%. By then, the USSR was actually trading more with the capitalist West than with its own comrades. And the subsidies? Cuba's tab alone hit $4 billion a year, a staggering 35% of its GDP. Vietnam and Mongolia got billions more, and for what? Loyalty mostly, certainly not efficiency. Ambitious projects, pipelines, pulp mills, nuclear power stations, were rolled out in grandiose 5-year plans. Most fizzled under bureaucratic deadweight. As one delegate put it, a Comecon agreement is like a collective wish list. Everyone signs it, nobody funds it. By the late 1980s, the whole thing was bleeding relevance. Market socialism was gaining ground. Gorbachev pulled the plug on energy subsidies. Then, in 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Eastern European states bolted for Western loans. Moscow offered to switch all trade to hard currency in 1990. And the result? Total collapse. Comecon's last meeting came in June 1991. No drama, no ceremony, barely a whimper. The bloc faded into the Moscow fog, undone by its own contradictions. Comecon wasn't an economy. It was a hostage negotiation in rubles. And when Moscow stopped paying, the whole system vanished overnight.